Hey everyone, Jeff Risden here with the daily DLP for the day after Christmas. It's Boxing Day. Look, I'm not going to lie. I'm recording this on Christmas night because I wanted to get this off my chest so I can sleep better instead of having to agonize about this game all the time because I want this over with. I want to send it back like you want to send back the god-awful gift that you got from some random family member that you can't give away. Because this football game today, the loss to the Minnesota Vikings, was one of the most embarrassing displays that I've seen from a Detroit Lions team in a very long time. And I've been watching this team, like my number 20 jersey says Sims on the back. And well, it doesn't fit anymore. It's a youth medium. It's not a throwback. This was up there among I'm sure you watched it. I prefer not to have to watch it again. I will probably spend some time reviewing some of it. I do want to look by a couple of people who requested it in the DLP Slack, a breakdown of Kingsley Aguakun to see if he can maybe be the backup center next year, if he's worth keeping. I don't know. All I know is that game, oh my God. Oh. They just lost a game where they allowed 3 net passing yards. And by the way, the Vikings didn't get in the positives until their very last pass. They were deep in the negatives in the early third quarter. They gained, I'm going to pull it up here because I'll pull the screen up. Bear with me that I have to look at this crap. Here it is. All right. This is the box score from NFL, the NFL media. We get this. 11 first downs for Minnesota. 51 offensive plays, 161 yards. Guess what? Look up here. They gained 65 of those on one play. That's the Jordan Addison game sealer. That still bugs me. Defense played so well up until that point. But sooner or later, the Vikings were going to find a way to get Max Brosmer a plus. And they did it by doing the same thing that the Rams and the Steelers did, and the Packers did, and the Cowboys did. They ran a little bit misdirection. They put some eye candy out there. The safeties bit too far in. The linebackers stayed too far in, and DJ Reed was the cornerback at fault on this one instead of it being Amik Robertson or Rock Yassin. It's been all three at different points in the season. Crash in on the edge, knowing that there was nobody behind him, knowing that he was the outside, and it was an easy long touchdown for Addison. Great play call for Minnesota. Good job, Kevin O'Connell. You won the coaching battle today with that play. Lions defense played good enough to win, but when you give up, and let's look at it, six giveaways. They had 8. The Lions had 8 giveaways going into this game. This was game number 16. They had almost half their season's giveaways today. Thursday, Christmas Day. Not a very Merry Christmas. That's a massive lump of coal in everyone's Honolulu blue stocking. Awful. Just awful. Goff didn't have a good game. Played very well at the beginning of the game. Even aside from the early turnovers, thought he made some good plays early. The third down throw to J-Mo where he had to roll out to his right was brilliant. Touchdown pass to Tesla, which turned out to be the only touchdown. Great throw. Better catch. That's the sort of play that we want to see more of, where he's putting the ball where only Isaac Tesla can go get it. And Isaac can go get a lot of balls that a lot of other guys can't. Great play. Then the wheels came off. Vikings dialed up pressure a little bit more. Lions' offensive line wasn't up to the task. Just frustrating. So many things wrong with this game. Run game, basically non-existent. Going to put a lot of that on the offensive line, but not completely. I want to put some of that on the play calling. The Minnesota Vikings are notorious for crowding the box, for making it look like they can bring any number of 8 people. And you got to figure out with your offensive line and your blocking scheme, which guy you got to go block. And get your hat on a hat, get your hands on some shoulder pads, and move people. And the Lions, by and large, did not do a very good job of that at all. You're playing with Iguacan as your center, making a second career start. Dan Skipper is your left tackle because Taylor Decker is out with an illness. That's not optimal, to be kind. Penny Sewell left for a little bit, an injury. He's clearly wasn't right when he got back. Don't think he was right last week either when he had probably the worst game of his career. Christian Mahogany's still not close to 100% of what he needs to be with his leg injury that he's coming off of. And they ran all this out there. I'm going to hide this because it's depressing for me too. Your line is overwhelmed by what they're asked to do against an aggressive defense. Maybe don't have them blocking 2 gaps away. Maybe don't have them trying to make reach blocks that they probably can't make unless they're fully healthy. Look, there's only so much you can do to hide a bad offensive line, but there are things that you can do. You can design shorter dropbacks, get the ball out quicker. One of the things that worked, and it's not something, admittedly, that Jared Goff is very good at, move him out of the pocket. Roll the pocket to the right a little bit. Move it to the left a little bit. Don't have him be a sitting stationary duck in the same spot every time. When he did move today, again, I'm recording this Thursday night because I want to sleep this one off. I thought that the throwing angles were there. Thought he bought time. I thought he delivered decent passes when he moved, and especially when he was designed to move. They didn't do that often enough. They didn't do much of anything well enough on offense. You can do some things like, and this is one of the other ones, and I want to bring this up because I put this out on social media during the game. And this is something that if you have watched the Daily in the past, I have whined about this. And yes, I do whine. I know I do. Not that one. I want to add. I don't want that one. I want that one. Share this tab instead. You're learning with me. Okay. Here it is. I can't quite blow it up for y'all, but I will do my best here. This is the first half usage of tight ends and wide receivers. Nathan Jonke from PFF, he's the guy who tracks the player participation. Good follow on social media. This happens to be from Blue Sky. At the half, you will notice Giovanni Ricci, 23 snaps. Shane Zylstra, 20 snaps. Anthony Ferkser, 16 snaps out of 31 at tight end. That means you're going very heavy 12 personnel. 1 running back, 2 tight ends. Why is Giovanni Ricci playing as many snaps as Jameson Williams? Why is your third tight end playing more than your third wide receiver, Isaac Tisslaw, who, as I noted up at the top, you traded 3 third-round picks to get him, or traded 2 and used 1 additional to draft him. And by the way, he was playing very well. He had a very good game. What are you doing? All 3 of these tight ends were not in the NFL on Thanksgiving. Like, Zylstra was on IR. He is basically a glorified practice squad player. Ricci's bounced around like he's a plugger, but on a good team, he's on a practice squad. Ferkser has been a veteran free agent journeyman who bounces from team to team, bounces from practice squad to practice squad. Why are they getting more emphasis in the offense than Isaac Tesla and Jameson Williams? Make that make sense. Because I can't. I don't have an explanation for that. I don't get it. Play to the strengths that you've got. This is something that Gray talked about last week. This is something that I've been hammering on for a long time, both on these shows, in my writings. I talked about it at length on the Huge show this past week. By the way, thanks, Bill, for having me in. It was fun. It was a lot of fun, actually. One of the most fun times I've had talking about the Lions, because this ain't it, man. And I don't know where to place the blame on this. Is it because John Morton is still the offensive coordinator, but he's not the play caller? Is it because Dan is calling plays and still thinks that he's got Sam Laporta and Brock Wright out there? Is it because he's neglecting his overall head coaching game preparation duties because he's also taxed with the added responsibilities of being a play caller, and that wasn't the setup going into the season? Like, it might be all of those. I would like for them to have this discussion amongst themselves and figure that out, because that is unacceptable. What are you doing? I don't get that at all. Like, there's a time and place for running 12 personnel. And there are times in the first half of this game, which is where these stats are from, where it was an appropriate call. But when you're running that more than you're running 3 wide receivers, that make it make sense, please. Can't do it. It's just so frustrating. It's so hard. Oh. Some of the little tidbits from the game that I took note of. Jack Fox, that punt, holy crap, that was incredible. Highlight of the game, aside from Tesla's catch, was Jack Fox uncorking. I think it was a 71-yard punt that went out of bounds on its own inside the 2. Wow. That was great. Yeah, I'm reaching here. Oh, sometimes you just have to laugh, because otherwise you're going to cry or scream or vomit or I don't know, man. That was a tough one. I'm not thrilled with the Lions' game preparation there. Certainly not thrilled with the execution. And there's only, you can't blame the coaches when Jahmyr Gibbs gets the ball stripped out of his hands. When Goff gets sandwiched and loses the ball. That's the other team making more plays than you, and their players playing better than your best players. And that has been a recurring theme in a lot of the losses this year, is that the Lions' key players, the best players on the team, the guys who need to be your best players, Amon-Ra, Gibbs, Decker, when he's been healthy, he wasn't in today. Panay last week is a good example. Hutchinson has kind of fluctuated. Brian Branch, before he got hurt, he was not playing well. And those are your big ticket guys. Those are your playmakers. Those are the difference makers on your team. And they're not playing their best. Is that coaching? Is that they're tired? Is that there's maybe we're overhyping or overrating them a little bit? I don't know. But something isn't working. And it's something that they need to figure out this offseason, and they need to figure it out quickly, and they need to figure it out honestly. They need to have honest, frank discussions about what is not working. Dan hinted at it in his post-game press conference that he's going to have a lot of time to look at things because they're not in the playoffs, and he doesn't like that. Well, that's good. That's a good start. I would love for them to have outside eyes also look at it, whether that's a new OC who comes in, whether that is moving on from John Dorsey and bringing in a different sort of senior consigliere, assistant GM, whatever John does. He can stay too, by the way. Like, I don't want to kick him out, but they need a fresh look, because I do think, and this is something that we've talked about a lot in the DLP Slack channel. Get in at $5 on Patreon. Shameless plug, sorry. I'm going to say I work for the Huge Show. It feels like Dan's messaging and some of the more tenured assistant coaches, guys like Hank Fraley, Scotty Montgomery, it feels like the message that they're sending, while it's consistent and while there's certainly value in having it consistent, the players have heard it all, and it's not resonating the way that it used to. And that requires bringing in fresh ideas, a fresh perspective, a new voice. And they got to get those voices right, because they tried that a little bit with John Morton. It hasn't worked. They've tried it with Casey Rogers, the new defensive line coach, who's been a very successful NFL defensive coordinator in his time. It's not working. If I had to sacrifice one position coach from this year, and I don't like saying this because I don't like to call for dudes' jobs, but Casey Rogers has not worked. This defensive line is not achieving what it needs to achieve based on the level of talent. Now, some of that, again, I don't think Aleem McNeil is anywhere close to being healthy, and I think he's going to come out after the season and tell you that he probably shouldn't have played so much. I don't think DJ Reader is having the best season that he would, but I also don't think that, Tyleek Williams has not really developed a lot. I like Tyleek. Not sure I would have taken him in the first round, but I liked him. I liked him a lot as a player. And it's either the usage or his growth arc. It's not where it needs to be yet. I do think Aleem's going to be much better next year, a full year away removed from the ACL injury. I do think Tyleek is going to get better, much in the way that Aleem did from year one to year two, where he got his body in better shape, understood what he had to do better to prepare for the season, both mentally and physically. And I do think he'll be a good player next year. I don't know if he's ever going to be more than like a 3.5 sack guy, but I do think he'll be much better against the run and can get more pressure quickly, hopefully. Yeah, that's just so frustrating to come off this loss. So the Lions have officially been eliminated from the postseason. The Packers are in. The only spots, so seeding still has to be decided in the NFC, and the South champion has yet to be decided. It's either Carolina or Tampa Bay. Carolina has a 1-game lead going into this weekend's games. They do play again, but I don't know. Good for Carolina. Getting there with a god-awful pass rush, showing different ways to skin the cat. They're getting wins despite having next to nothing pass rush-wise. Different ways to win. That sort of keeps with this theme. The Lions have been so set on their way to win, and now teams have caught up to that and adjusted and understand how to game plan for these Lions. Where's the next adjustment from Detroit? Can they show that they can win in a different way? This season, I really don't care about next week. Getting a winning record would be nice. I'll be honest with you, though. I want that last place schedule because that means playing the Raiders instead of the Chiefs. And it means playing the Cardinals instead of the 49ers or Rams. Take your pick of whoever finishes third in the NFC West and AFC West. Chiefs are locked into that. I want that fourth place schedule. Look what it's done for Chicago this year. I don't want to blame the schedule for the Lions falling off or anything like that, but they're 8-8 going into the last season. Their last game of the season, they have been eliminated. Not where we thought we'd be. Not where they thought they'd be for sure. And there's two ways that the team can react to this. Like, we're going to have a whole lot of time as fans and media to break things down. But for them, they got to decide, what do they want to be and how do they get there? Because off-season preparation starts now. And on that front, we're going to start having some draft content here. Look, those of you who know me, you know I'm a draft junkie. I'm a draft Nick. That was my entry point into covering the NFL. I have been covering the draft professionally since 2004. I've been paid to cover the NFL draft by various entities. We'll have another one of those coming soon. You'll see an announcement on that in the next week. I signed the contract yesterday. Very good. Very happy about that. And you're going to start seeing more draft-centric stuff here. You're going to see more, as I put on social media, we're going to do an autopsy, Fit for an Autopsy. Not my favorite band, but they're solid. This team is very far from heaven, which is my favorite Fit for an Autopsy song. And we're going to break that down over the coming days. You're going to hear a lot of it. It's going to be honest. It's going to be frank. Some of it might not be as fire and brimstone as you want it to be. Some of it might catch some of you like, why do you think that? And I will try my best to explain my way through it. But y'all, I hope it didn't ruin your Christmas. It's a rough way to spend the holiday. I get it. It's frustrating for me. Just happy that the intensity and the drama is kind of over. I'm really not concerned at all about next week. I don't care if they win. Do want to see them play well. I want to think about some things before we get into that and talking about what should happen and shouldn't happen next week. But this was a bad one, and it is a fitting end to a very disappointing season. And yes, I know they still have another game, but it sure feels like it's over. And man, that's hard to take after the Lions we've had for the last 3 years. It just is. Anyways, I do hope you all had a great Christmas, or enjoying the holidays, and can find something to take your mind off the Lions football. When normally, in the last few years, Lions football has been your escape from whatever else might have been bothering you in life. If you need therapy, come into the Slack channel, message me. I'll do my best. I'm not a trained therapist, but I've been in enough therapy to understand the concepts anyways. We'll try to keep it straight. That's all we can do at this point. Please, 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 if you're going out this weekend, and by the way, I will have a DLP daily throughout the weekend. We'll do one Saturday, Sunday, through next week's a little weird for me with some family things going on, but I will have them at least through Thursday, probably Friday, and if time works out and things work out, we'll go all the way through next Sunday. I won't do one on game day, but yeah, there's a lot to talk about, a lot to be frustrated about. There's still a lot of really good things with this football team. The fact that they were -6 in turnovers and still were well within this game deep into the fourth quarter kind of tells you that they're not that bad, but they're not good enough. And we need to be better. Let's hope so. Hope you all had a Merry Christmas. This is Jeff Risen signing out.